Alright guys, if you want to see a stock that's been absolutely on fire, look no further than Tesla. Alright, this is a daily chart on Tesla, and I had to check and recheck this number here, this 45% number, before I posted this video, because I couldn't believe it. Alright, like, there's no way a billion-dollar company, right? I think what's the valuation? $150 billion company could be up 45% in a week. These type of moves are something you typically only see in penny stocks and biotech stocks, right? But here it is, man. Look at the x-axis. July 1st, okay? Check out where we were here on July 1st. If you scan the x-axis, $1,000, right? Now let's check out today. Calendar. Wednesday, July 8th. Exactly 1 week later, and here's where we are, just about 1400. In fact, it was at 1440. What was this, yesterday? Yeah. So that's it. This thing's up 45% in a week, and I've had my eye on Tesla for a while. I've been, trying to figure out a strategy on how I want to take out a long-term short. Okay, I want to take out a long-term short position on Tesla, and here's how I'm doing it, okay? And once I show you my potential strategy, I'd love to know how you guys are trading Tesla. So if you have an interesting strategy on Tesla, just post it in the comments below, okay? What I've been looking at doing here on Tesla is using my pivot points, right? So let me just pop on those pivot points here. So these are all pivot points. Every single one of these is a pivot point, right? Now, what I'm going to do here, or what I plan to do on Tesla, is I want to wait for weakness, okay? By the way, we'll also I'll also pop in the swing highs, all right? I'm going to show you why the swing highs are, actually we'll color this a little bit different, okay? Yeah, so here's a swing high, swing high, swing high, and then swing high, okay? A swing high is really just an area where you see a bunch of green bars and then it reverses sharply. So that's the most recent area where the seller stepped in and said enough is enough. We're gonna push it down a little bit. Okay. Now I'm gonna draw a trend line for you, but I'm gonna draw it a little bit differently. Okay. The traditional method, and you guys know this from watching my videos, an awesome way typically to catch tops and bottoms is to simply draw a trend line connecting 2 points, right? Just like this, right? And you're waiting for the price to break that trend line. Let me color this box so we can spot it here in the chart. There you go, right there. Okay. And so you connect 2 points via a trend line, and you wait for that trend line to be broken, and then you go short, and you use the swing high as your stop. But on Tesla, or really any momentum stocks, and this is definitely the craziest momentum stock I think I've ever seen, and I think you guys have ever seen, okay? What I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for weakness in these pivot points, all right? So let me delete the trend line there, and what I mean when I say weakness is here. Let me outline the sequence of pivot points. So instead of waiting and connecting rising pivot points, I want to wait for the first falling pivot point, which would make it look like this, right? So if I show you these ones, so here's a pivot point, rising, rising, and then boom, this one's falling. Okay, so let me put an arrow right there. It's a falling pivot point. So this tells me that the stock's gotten a little bit weak. We don't know for sure if the buyers are done buying. Nobody knows, right? But a weak pivot point, what I call a falling pivot point, I'm just going to call it a weak pivot point. What that tells me is that the stock, the momentum behind the stock, has gotten a little weaker. Okay? So now it might be a good time to start thinking about shorting the stock. But, okay, big but here, you also have to be mindful of the most recent swing high. That cannot be breached, okay? So if I use the weak pivot point here as my anchor to connect the trend line, in fact, let's just go ahead and do that. So here's a trend line. I'm going to draw it like this, okay? this trend line is valid unless the swing high gets breached, right? Which you saw me draw these red arrows. All these red arrows here are the swing highs. And you can kind of see that it certainly breached the swing high, right? So the minute that this swing high got breached, sometime over here, this trend line, it becomes invalid. Does that make sense? Because what the market's telling you is that yes, there was a brief flash of weakness, but it went right back up and took out the swing high, right? So the buyers are back in control. But check this out here, right? You see this one here? That's another weak pivot point we just got, right? Let me just align this properly, okay? So now what happens is this trend line now becomes the new trend line. And this becomes your swing high if the trend line gets breached or if the trend line gets broken, right? So let me try to, I don't know, let's try to do some magic here and see what's a potential area where it might break to the downside. We don't know for sure. I don't know. I'm gonna randomly place it right here. This looks like a decent spot. Okay. So right around here is where I think the stock might break the trend line, and you know, everything's in position right now. So you know, I've plugged this into my market scanner and I've plugged this into my text message alerts, and you know, instead of sitting around all day and watching this thing with my own eyeballs, I'm going to be waiting for a text message to come through on my phone and see if this trend line breaks. And for those of you guys that are wondering what the heck am I talking about, text message on my phone, I put a link to a video I did a few weeks ago on how to get text message alerts on trend line breaks to your phone. It's extremely valuable, huge time saver. It's for traders like me who are incredibly lazy and you know, just don't want to sit around all day staring at the chart. So anyway, this is how it's setting up for me on the daily chart of Tesla. Like I said, I've been trying to catch the top here. This is what I think is going to be a safe way to do it. Now, keep in mind, this thing could easily keep rallying and take out the swing high. And if it does, then this trend line here becomes invalid, right? But for the moment, it's a pretty good trend line. And you know, I would love to know how you guys are playing Tesla, whether you're playing it through stocks or if you're playing it through options. I'd love to know, okay? So we'll see how this plays out. Again, guys, I would love to know how you guys are trading Tesla. Leave your comments at the bottom, and let's see how this thing plays out.